Welcome to the Top Stoic channel. Bring positive energy into your life. Have you ever noticed that the harder you try to defend yourself, the more your words get twisted? That the more you fight for truth, respect, or justice, the more desperate you appear, while the real culprits walk away unscathed? But what if the secret isn't in fighting back, but in stepping away? The moment you stop explaining, stop chasing, stop reacting, something remarkable happens. Karma begins its work. Imagine a snake that bites its own tail. The more it thrashes, the deeper the wound. But the moment it stops struggling, nature takes over, and healing begins. Or think of an echo bouncing through the mountains. What you send out will always return. That's how karma operates. The lies they spread, the harm they cause, it all circles back in time. While they are busy provoking, deceiving, and manipulating, you are left with a choice. Get caught in their web, or step back and watch as karma unfolds. And here's the truth: when you choose silence, you shift the balance. The weight of their own actions crashes down upon them. Their own energy turns against them. So, when do you let go and allow karma to do what words never could? Watch this video from the Top Stoic channel, because by the end of this post, your entire perspective might change. 1. When someone betrays your trust. Why do I mention this first? Because in life, there are few pains as deep as betrayal. Whether it's a friend who turns against you, a partner who shatters your trust, or someone you believed in who lets you down, the sting is unlike anything else. It's not just the act itself, it's the realization that someone you once valued never truly valued you the same way. Your first instinct? Confrontation. You want answers. You want them to see the damage they've caused. You want an apology, a moment of regret, something that makes them understand what they've done. But here's the hard truth. Words won't change a betrayer's nature. If someone was willing to betray you, chances are they've already justified it in their own mind. They've convinced themselves it was necessary, excusable, or maybe even your fault. No explanation will undo that. If you try to reason with them, they'll twist your words. If you try to make them feel guilty, they'll rewrite the story so that you're the villain. That's why walking away in silence is the loudest response you can give. This is where Stoic wisdom becomes a guiding force. Seneca once said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." Betrayal, as painful as it is also a test. It forces you to grow, to redefine your boundaries, to recognize who truly deserves a place in your life. The pain isn't just suffering, it's a lesson in self-respect, detachment, and letting go of those who were never meant to stay. Let me tell you a story. A woman I know, let's call her Sarah, had a best friend for over 10 years. They shared everything. Secrets, struggles, victories. She trusted her completely. But one day, Sarah discovered something devastating. This friend had been speaking behind her back, exposing private conversations, even sabotaging opportunities meant for her. Her first reaction? Rage. She wanted to confront her, to make her see what she had done, to force her to admit her betrayal. But then, something shifted. Instead of fighting, Sarah chose silence. No arguments, no explanations, no second chances. She simply walked away. And here's what happened. The friend felt the silence. She had expected a fight, a dramatic confrontation, a scene where she could manipulate the narrative. Instead, she got indifference. And that silence? It spoke louder than any words ever could. So, how do you handle betrayal? Accept that some people will never be who you thought they were. The pain doesn't come from what they did. It comes from your expectations of them. Let those expectations go. Don't waste your energy explaining their wrongdoing. Deep down, they already know. Whether they admit it or not is irrelevant. Walk away with dignity. Your silence isn't weakness, it's power. At the end of the day, true strength lies in detachment. Betrayers thrive on reaction, on guilt, on second chances. Don't give them that satisfaction. Let your silence remind them that you weren't the one who lost. They were the ones who should have never let you go in the first place. 2. When someone lies about you. Few things are as frustrating as being the target of a lie. The instinct to defend yourself, to clear your name, to make sure everyone knows the truth. It's natural. But here's the harsh reality. The more you fight back, the more you feed the lie. Every explanation, every attempt to prove yourself only fuels the drama. People who never questioned you before may suddenly start wondering if there's something to the rumor. Why? Because not everyone cares about the truth. Some only care about the reaction. The person lying about you isn't searching for facts. They're searching for control. They want you upset. They want you chasing their accusations. They want you so entangled in their web that your every move seems like proof that the lie has weight. And if you engage, you're playing by their rules. This is where Stoic wisdom becomes invaluable. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." That's the standard you must hold yourself to. Others may deceive, others may manipulate, but their actions do not define you. Your response does. So, what should you do? Instead of exhausting yourself trying to prove your innocence, let time and truth do their work. Lies have an expiration date. The truth, on the other hand, is eternal. Let the top Stoic share a story. A man I know, we'll call him Peter, found himself in the middle of a workplace scandal. Someone accused him of something he never did. The rumors spread fast, whispers behind his back. Colleagues who used to be friendly suddenly kept their distance. His first instinct? To go to each person, explain his side, convince them of his innocence. But he stopped himself. Instead, he chose silence. He remained professional, focused on his work, and refused to engage in the drama. Weeks passed. Then, the truth surfaced. The person who spread the rumors had a history of deception. Their manipulation was exposed, and suddenly, Peter didn't have to say a word. His integrity spoke for itself. Because he never played into the chaos, his reputation remained intact. So, how do you handle being lied about? Trust in the long game. Lies may spread quickly, but they always wither. The truth, on the other hand, will always stand the test of time. Focus on your integrity. If you know who you are, the opinions of those who believe lies shouldn't shake you. Let karma do its job. Those who spread falsehoods will inevitably expose themselves through their own patterns. You don't have to chase them. Life will handle it. At the end of the day, your silence is not weakness. It's control. When someone lies about you, don't stoop to their level. Stay grounded. Stay patient. And remember, when the truth finally emerges, you'll still have your dignity. 3. When someone insults you, the power of silence. At some point in life, we all face insults, whether they come in the form of a subtle jab, a sarcastic remark, or an outright verbal attack. Insults have one purpose: to provoke. The moment you react, whether by arguing, defending yourself, or even showing the slightest hint of frustration, you've handed the insulter exactly what they wanted: control over your emotions. The truth is, insults are not about you. They are a reflection of the person delivering them. Most people who resort to insults are either projecting their insecurities, seeking validation through dominance, or trying to mask their own shortcomings. They aren't looking for the truth. They're looking for a reaction. But what if you don't give them one? What if, instead of reacting, you remain calm, unshaken, and indifferent? That is when you win. Nothing frustrates an insulter more than being ignored. Their power lies in your reaction without it. Their words are meaningless. The wisdom of Stoicism. The ancient Stoics understood this well. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." Think about that for a moment. The second you stoop to the level of someone who is being petty, cruel, or disrespectful, you've already lost. You have allowed their behavior to dictate yours. The true test of strength is restraint. When you respond with silence, self-control, and dignity, you send a message that their words have no effect on you. This is not weakness. This is mastery over your own emotions, a story of strength. Let me share a story that perfectly illustrates this point. David, a successful professional, was attending a corporate event when a jealous coworker decided to take a public jab at him. The coworker, bitter about David's recent promotion, smirked and said loudly enough for everyone to hear, "Wow, I guess they're just giving out promotions to anyone these days." The room went silent. All eyes were on David, waiting for him to fire back, to defend himself, to put the insulter in his place. The atmosphere was tense. Everyone expected a confrontation. But David did something unexpected. He simply smiled, met his coworker's eyes for a brief moment, and said nothing. No anger, no sarcasm, no justification, just silence. Then, he turned his attention back to his conversation, as if the comment had never been made. And you know what happened? The coworker, expecting a reaction, suddenly looked uncomfortable. He had been hoping for an argument, for an emotional response that he could use to escalate the situation. Instead, he was left standing there, exposed, while David remained in complete control. That silence said more than words ever could. It told the room that David was unshaken, that the insult was beneath him, and that the coworker's attempt at belittling him had failed. In that moment, David had won not through aggression, but through indifference. The power of non-reaction. So, how do you handle insults effectively? Recognize that insults say more about the person delivering them than about you. People who insult others are often insecure, envious, or unhappy with themselves. Their words are a reflection of their inner struggles, not your worth. Understand that silence is strength. By not reacting, you show that their words hold no power over you. When you refuse to engage, the insulter is left powerless. They may try harder to provoke you, but the more you remain indifferent, the more frustrated they become. Carry yourself with confidence. When you respond with calm detachment, you send a clear message. You are in control of yourself. The strongest person in the room is not the loudest. It's the one who remains unshaken. Why silence works. Silence is a response, just not the one the insulter wants. When someone insults you, they expect an emotional reaction. They want you to feel offended, hurt, or defensive. But when you remain composed, you rob them of that satisfaction. This doesn't mean you allow people to walk all over you. It means you choose your battles wisely. Some situations require a response, but not all do. In many cases, walking away in silence is the most powerful statement you can make. Insult versus criticism. It's also important to distinguish between an insult and constructive criticism. Not every negative comment is an attack. Sometimes people provide feedback that may be uncomfortable to hear, but is meant to help you grow. The key is to assess the intent behind the words. An insult is meant to provoke, belittle, or hurt. It serves no purpose other than to boost the ego of the person delivering it. Criticism, on the other hand, is meant to offer insight or improvement. It may be blunt, but it carries a lesson if you're willing to listen. Knowing the difference allows you to respond appropriately, either with silence or with gratitude. The bigger picture. At the end of the day, you cannot control what others say or do. You will encounter people who insult, mock, and criticize for no other reason than to elevate themselves. But what you can control is your reaction. And sometimes, the most powerful reaction is none at all. When you choose silence, you demonstrate self-respect. You refuse to let someone else's negativity dictate your mood. You show that their words are irrelevant to your sense of self-worth. Final thought. Violence is not submission. It is not weakness. It is not avoidance. Silence is power. It's the ability to walk away from petty battles, to maintain your dignity, and to prove without saying a word that their insults do not define you. Because at the end of the day, the person who truly holds power is not the one who shouts the loudest, but the one who remains unfazed. So the next time someone insults you, remember, you don't owe them a reaction. Let your silence be the loudest statement of all. 4. When they ignore your worth. The power of walking away. One of the hardest, but most important lessons in life is realizing that you are being undervalued. It happens in all areas, relationships, friendships, even at work. You give your time, your energy, your support. You show up, you care, you contribute. And yet, instead of appreciation, you're met with indifference. Instead of respect, you're taken for granted. When this happens, the natural instinct is to fight for recognition, to prove your worth, to demand appreciation, to try harder. But here's the truth. The more you chase validation, the less valuable you appear in their eyes. People don't treasure what is always available. They don't appreciate what they think they will never lose. And that is why, sometimes, silence is your greatest weapon. The power of absence. When you stop proving yourself, when you stop trying to make them see your value, something shifts. Suddenly, the absence of what they once took for granted becomes undeniable. Silence forces people to confront what they ignored. It makes them realize what they had only after it's gone. And in that space, one of two things happens. Those who truly value you will recognize what they lost and make an effort to keep you in their lives. Those who never truly cared will simply disappear, proving that they were never meant to stay. This is not manipulation. This is clarity. You're not creating distance to punish others. You're stepping back to see who cares enough to close the gap. The wisdom of the Stoics. Seneca once said, "Time discovers truth." And that is exactly what happens when you walk away with dignity. The truth reveals itself not through words, not through arguments, but through absence. If someone values you, they won't need reminders. They won't need grand explanations. They will feel your absence, and if they truly care, they will act. A story of self-realization. Let me share a story that perfectly illustrates this lesson. Lion, a friend of mine, was the kind of person who always made an effort. Whether it was friendships, family, or work relationships, he was the one who checked in first, made the plans, offered help, and made people feel valued. But over time, he started to notice a painful pattern. If he didn't reach out, days, even weeks would pass without a single message. If he didn't initiate conversations, they never happened. He realized something. He wasn't being valued. He was simply being convenient. One day, Lion made a decision. He didn't send angry messages or demand explanations. He didn't announce his feelings or argue for recognition. He simply stopped chasing. And then, something interesting happened. The people who genuinely cared about him noticed his absence. They reached out, checked in, and made an effort. But those who only saw him as an option, they disappeared. And that was his answer. He didn't lose anyone, he just finally saw who was worth keeping. How to handle being undervalued. If you ever find yourself in a similar situation, remember this: stop explaining your worth. Your value doesn't decrease just because someone refuses to acknowledge it. Step back and observe. The right people won't need reminders to appreciate you. Let time do the work. When you walk away with silence, you allow others the chance to realize what they lost. The final lesson at the end of the day: you don't need to prove yourself to anyone. Your worth is not up for debate. If someone fails to see it while you are there, let them experience your absence. Because sometimes, the only way people learn to appreciate you is when they no longer have access to you. 5. When they try to provoke you. Mastering the art of self-control. One of the greatest tests of inner strength is resisting the urge to react when someone deliberately tries to provoke you. Whether it's in the workplace, within friendships, or even among strangers, there will always be individuals who thrive on conflict. They poke, they prod, they make cutting remarks, all with one goal: to get under your skin. And the moment you react, whether with anger, frustration, or even a simple defense, you've handed them exactly what they wanted: control over your emotions. Why people try to provoke you. Here's the truth. People who seek conflict aren't looking for resolution. They're looking for a reaction. They want to see you flustered, upset, or behaving out of character. Your emotional response feeds their sense of power. But what happens when you refuse to engage? When you stay calm, collected, and indifferent? Suddenly, their game no longer works. And that is the ultimate power move. The wisdom of the Stoics. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. You can't control how others behave. You can't stop people from trying to provoke you. But you can control whether or not you let them affect your state of mind. And once you master that, you become untouchable. A story of true strength. Let me share a story that illustrates this concept perfectly. John, a guy I know, had a coworker who thrived on stirring up drama. Every meeting, every conversation, this coworker would throw out little jabs, constantly trying to get a rise out of him. At first, John did what most people would. He defended himself, argued back, and tried to explain. But over time, he noticed something. No matter how logical or composed he was, it only made things worse. The more he engaged, the more fuel he gave to the fire. So, one day, he decided to take a different approach. The next time his coworker made a snide remark, John simply smiled, gave a calm nod, and moved on as if it didn't matter. No reaction, no argument, no emotional energy wasted. And guess what? His coworker hated it. Without the reaction he craved, his attempts at provocation became meaningless. He kept trying, but without success. And eventually, he lost interest. That's the power of non-reaction. How to handle people who try to provoke you. Recognize the game. If someone consistently tries to get under your skin, it's not an accident, it's a pattern. Once you see it for what it is, you can stop falling into their trap. Stay calm and detached. Your silence and indifference will frustrate them far more than any argument ever could. Remember that true strength is in control. The strongest person in the room isn't the one who yells the loudest. It's the one who refuses to be controlled by anyone else's negativity. The final lesson at the end of the day: the greatest form of power is mastering yourself. When you ignore those who try to provoke you, you deny them the satisfaction they crave. And that is real strength. 6. When they regret losing you. The power of walking away. One of life's most powerful lessons is understanding the strength in walking away. When someone mistreats you, takes you for granted, or fails to appreciate your worth, there will come a moment when they finally realize what they lost. But by then, it's already too late. The truth about regret. If someone truly valued you, they would never have put themselves in a position to lose you in the first place. The sad reality is that people don't always recognize what they have while it's right in front of them. They take kindness for granted, assume presence is permanent, and fail to appreciate consistency. But the moment you leave, the moment your energy is no longer freely given, everything changes. The silence you leave behind is deafening. That's when regret starts creeping in, forcing them to replay every mistake, every moment they could have done better. Silence speaks louder than words. And this is why silence is the most powerful response. You don't need to argue, explain, or remind them of what they lost. Let them sit with the weight of their own choices. Let them feel the absence of what they once had, but failed to cherish. Because when you truly walk away with no words, no second chances, no lingering hope, your absence becomes the loudest message they will ever hear. The wisdom of the Stoics, Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." True strength isn't about trying to make others see your worth. It's about mastering yourself, having the discipline to walk away from those who didn't value you, and the wisdom to never look back. Real power doesn't come from chasing. It comes from knowing when to stop giving your energy to people who never deserved it. A story of realization. Let me share a story. Sarah, a woman I know, was in a long-term relationship where she constantly felt unappreciated. She gave everything: her time, her love, her unwavering support. And her partner? He took it all for granted, assuming she would always be there, always understanding, always forgiving. Until one day, she decided she was done. No dramatic exit, no endless explanations, just quiet, firm distance. And that's when everything changed. Suddenly, her absence became impossible to ignore. The partner who once dismissed her efforts started realizing what he had lost. But by then, Sarah had already moved forward, choosing peace over pain, self-respect over seeking validation. And that's the lesson. If someone only realizes your worth when you're gone, they never truly deserved you in the first place. 7. The final lesson. When they finally feel the loss. And then one day she was gone. Sarah didn't scream, didn't plead, didn't demand change. She simply left. No dramatic goodbye, no desperate explanations, just silence. At first, her partner assumed she would return, that this was just another rough patch. But as days stretched into weeks and weeks into months, reality sank in. She wasn't coming back. By the time he reached out, his words now dripping with apologies and regret, Sarah had already moved on. And that's when he truly felt the weight of his loss. How to handle someone who regrets losing you. Don't give them an easy way back. If they only recognize your value after you've left, then they never truly valued you at all. Don't explain your absence. Let them wonder. Let them sit with the silence they once ignored. Remember, real self-respect means staying gone. Walking away isn't just an action, it's a commitment to yourself. At the end of the day, the most powerful lesson you can teach someone is that once you're gone, you're gone. Their regret is not your responsibility. Their lesson is not your burden. Walk away, stay silent, and let karma do the rest. Don't forget to leave a comment below to help the Top Stoic team improve this content. Don't forget to subscribe